So picture this. It's Friday, May 23rd, 2025. You're probably thinking about your weekend plans, maybe scrolling through your phone. And then, wham! News drops that seems to come straight out of a political thriller. Except it's all too real. The Trump administration has just made a huge move. They've decided to block Harvard University, yes, Harvard, from enrolling new international students. You heard that right. It's one of those moments where you have to read the headline twice to make sure your eyes aren't playing tricks on you. It's a big one, folks, a real shocker to the system for many. Now, what does this actually mean in plain English? It means the US government, specifically the Department of Homeland Security, has revoked Harvard's certification under something called the Student and Exchange Visitor Program, or SEVP for short. This program is basically the golden ticket that allows universities to bring in students from around the globe. Without this certification, Harvard can't issue the necessary documents for new international students to get their visas. So, for anyone outside the US dreaming of those hallowed Harvard halls, that dream just hit a massive, unexpected roadblock. It's like having a backstage pass, and then the bouncer suddenly says the band isn't playing anymore. This isn't just some social media rumor, mind you, this is official. The news apparently first broke via Forbes on Thursday, May 22nd, just yesterday. The decision was laid out in a formal letter from Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. The letter was sent directly to Harvard's Director of Immigration Services, Maureen Martin. Imagine being Maureen, opening that piece of mail. It's probably not the kind of correspondence you look forward to. It signifies a major and potentially very disruptive change, not just for the university, but for thousands of young people around the world. And we're not talking about a handful of students here. This decision impacts almost 6,800 international students currently at Harvard. That's more than a quarter of Harvard's entire student body. Think about that for a second. 1 out of every 4 students at one of the world's most famous universities is an international student. This isn't a minor policy tweak. It's a seismic event that could change the face of Harvard and send ripples far beyond its historic campus. The scale is simply staggering, and the implications are just beginning to unfold for everyone involved. So, let's talk about the people most directly hit by this. The current international students at Harvard. These are young men and women who are already in the US, probably neck-deep in studies, research projects, and maybe even trying to figure out American slang. Now, suddenly, their world is turned upside down. The directive says they must either transfer to another certified institution for the next academic year, or they could lose their legal status and their visas. Imagine having your life, your education, your future thrown into such chaos with so little warning. It's a tough pill to swallow. This isn't just about finding a new classroom or a new dorm, it's about their legal right to be in the country. Student visas are tied to enrollment at a certified institution. If Harvard can't enroll them in the eyes of the SEVP, their visas are in jeopardy. The clock is ticking for them to find a solution, and the pressure must be immense. It's like playing a high-stakes game of musical chairs. But if you don't find a chair, you might have to leave the country. That's a terrifying prospect for anyone, especially when you're far from home. Beyond the logistical nightmare and the legal anxieties, think about the emotional toll. These students came to Harvard with dreams, aspirations, and meticulously laid plans. They likely went through incredibly competitive application processes. They secured funding, said goodbye to their families, and embarked on a life-changing journey. Now, all of that feels incredibly fragile. The uncertainty, the stress, the feeling of being unwelcome, it's a heavy burden to carry. It's like building a magnificent sandcastle, only to see an unexpected wave threaten to wash it all away. And let's not forget their families back home. Parents, siblings, and entire communities often invest so much, both financially and emotionally, in a student's education abroad, especially at a place like Harvard. They share in the pride and the hope. Now they share in the anxiety and the uncertainty. They're watching from afar, probably feeling helpless and deeply concerned for their loved ones. This decision doesn't just affect individuals, it sends ripples of worry across continents, impacting families who pin so many hopes on this educational journey. Okay, so the big question is, why Harvard? What's the reasoning behind such a drastic move? According to the letter from Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, the administration has some serious allegations against the university. One of the claims is that Harvard has been fostering violence on its campus. That's a pretty explosive charge to level against an academic institution. Another accusation mentioned is the rise of anti-Semitism, a deeply concerning issue that many universities are grappling with, and Harvard is now specifically cited in this context by the administration. Then, there's another layer to these allegations, one with international implications. The administration also claims that Harvard has been, and I quote from the reports, coordinating with the Chinese Communist Party. Now that's a whole different ballgame. It brings in elements of national security and geopolitical tensions. These are not light accusations. They paint a picture of a university allegedly involved in activities far beyond typical academic pursuits. It's the kind of stuff you'd expect in a spy novel, not necessarily in a letter to a university's immigration services director. It's also worth noting, as reported by The Hill, that this move is seen by some as an escalation of an ongoing battle between the Trump administration and Harvard University. This suggests there might be a history of friction, a backdrop of previous disagreements or policy clashes. So, while the specific allegations are new and shocking, the tension itself might not be entirely out of the blue for those following the relationship between this administration and certain academic institutions. It's like a simmering pot that has finally boiled over, with international students caught in the steam. But as with many complex situations, people will ask if these allegations tell the whole story. Are they the sole reasons, or are there other factors at play? Universities, by their very nature, are places of diverse thought, debate, and sometimes protest. They are meant to be crucibles for ideas, even uncomfortable ones. Untangling the specifics of these claims and understanding the full context will be crucial. For now, the allegations are out there, and they are the stated justification for a decision that has sent shockwaves through the academic world. So, how is Harvard responding to this bombshell? Well, they're not exactly taking it lying down. You don't become Harvard by being a pushover. The university has already announced that it has filed a complaint in response to the administration's decision. And they've stated that a motion for a temporary restraining order will follow. This means they're taking the fight to the courts, challenging the legality and the basis of the SEVP certification revocation. The legal eagles at Harvard are gearing up for what could be a significant battle. In their public statements, Harvard officials have emphasized their commitment to their students and scholars. They've made it clear that they intend to support those affected by this decision in every way possible. This is crucial because thousands of lives have been thrown into uncertainty. The university is essentially saying, we value you, we want you here, and we will fight for you. For the students feeling adrift, hearing this commitment from their university is likely a small but important beacon of hope in a very confusing time. Of course, promising support and delivering it effectively are two different things, especially on this scale. Imagine the challenge. Harvard needs to provide legal assistance, academic counseling, and potentially even mental health support for nearly 6,800 students. They need to navigate complex immigration laws and explore all possible avenues to protect their students' status and their ability to continue their education. It's a monumental task that will require immense resources, careful planning, and a lot of dedication from the university's staff and faculty. This entire situation is a massive test for Harvard. It's a test of its leadership, its legal prowess, its institutional resilience, and its commitment to its core values of global engagement and academic freedom. The world, and particularly the global academic community, is watching very closely to see how Harvard navigates this crisis. And most importantly, those thousands of international students are counting on their university to champion their cause and help them find a way through this unprecedented challenge. Their futures are, in many ways, in Harvard's hands right now. Section 5. An unexpected offer. Hong Kong opens its doors. Now, in the midst of all this turmoil and uncertainty for Harvard's international students, an interesting development has emerged from halfway across the world. The Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, or HKUST, has publicly announced that it is ready to welcome affected international students from Harvard. They've essentially put out a message saying, hey, if things are tough over there, we have a place for you here. It's a surprising and proactive move from another major global university. HKUST isn't just making vague promises either. They've stated they will provide these students with a shortcut to enroll in their programs. They've even set up a special team and a dedicated hotline specifically to assist students from Harvard who might be considering this option. Their official statement mentioned that HCUST opens doors to Harvard students amid global academic shifts. That phrase, global academic shifts, is quite telling, suggesting they see this as a potential realignment in the international education landscape. It's a bold and strategic offer. So why is HCUST doing this? It could be seen as a gesture of academic solidarity, offering a safe haven for students caught in a difficult situation. It's also undoubtedly a smart strategic move for HCUST. Attracting talented students who are Harvard-bound or already at Harvard would be a significant boost to their own programs and international standing. It's like a top football club suddenly having the chance to sign players from a rival team that's facing sanctions. It's an opportunity, born out of a crisis elsewhere. For the affected students, this offer from HCUST provides a tangible alternative. It might not be the path they originally envisioned. Hong Kong is a very different environment from Cambridge, Massachusetts. But it's an option, a potential lifeline that allows them to continue their studies at a reputable institution without a massive interruption. It introduces a new set of choices and possibilities, albeit under very stressful circumstances. It shows that while one door might seem to be closing, another one unexpectedly might just be creaking open. Section 6. Shaking the Ivory Tower, America's educational standing at stake. This decision about Harvard's international students isn't just a localized issue affecting one university. No, this has much broader implications for the entire landscape of U.S. higher education. For decades, America has been seen as the premier destination for students from all over the world. Its universities are renowned for their research, resources, and the quality of education they offer. This reputation has attracted millions, contributing to a vibrant, diverse academic environment across the country. This Harvard situation could seriously dent that long-held image. Think about the message this sends to prospective international students and their families globally. If a university with the stature and resources of Harvard can have its ability to enroll international students revoked so suddenly, what does that mean for other U.S. institutions? Will students start to feel that studying in the U.S. is too risky, too unstable? They might begin to look more seriously at universities in Canada, Europe, Australia, or Asia, countries that are actively trying to recruit global talent. The U.S. might no longer be the automatic first choice. The competition in global higher education is fierce. Other nations are investing heavily in their universities, making them more attractive to international scholars and students. They offer quality education, sometimes at a lower cost, and often with more welcoming immigration policies. A move like the one against Harvard could inadvertently serve as a massive advertisement for these competitor countries. It's like scoring an own goal in the World Cup of academic talent attraction. It could accelerate a shift that many were already seeing. Beyond just student numbers, there's the concept of soft power. American universities have been incredible ambassadors for American culture, values, and ideas. When international students study in the U.S., they often develop a deeper understanding and frequently an affinity for the country. They return home with these experiences, fostering goodwill and international connections. Damaging America's appeal as an educational hub could therefore have long-term consequences for its influence and standing on the global stage far beyond the campus gates. Section 7. The innovation equation, losing more than just students? There's a really important point that Axios and others have raised. This kind of action, blocking international students from a top research university, could seriously harm innovation in the United States. And when you stop to think about it, it makes perfect sense. International students aren't just passive learners soaking up knowledge. Many are active contributors, especially at the graduate level. They are often at the forefront of research in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, the STEM fields that drive so much economic growth. Consider the history of American innovation, particularly in places like Silicon Valley. How many groundbreaking companies, technologies, and scientific discoveries have involved immigrants or individuals who first came to the U.S. as international students? The answer is a lot. These individuals bring diverse perspectives, unique skills, and a powerful drive to succeed. They are a vital ingredient in America's innovation ecosystem. Restricting their entry or making them feel unwelcome could starve that ecosystem of essential talent. If these bright minds are discouraged from coming to the U.S., or if those already here are forced to leave, they will likely take their talents, their ideas, and their future contributions elsewhere. Their research will fuel discoveries in other countries. The companies they build will create jobs and wealth in other economies. America could find itself missing out on the next big breakthrough simply because the person who would have achieved it was unable to study or stay here. It's like a sports team deciding to bench its star players right before the championship game. So this isn't merely an academic issue or an immigration debate, it's fundamentally about America's future competitiveness and its ability to lead in a rapidly changing world. The global race for talent is intense, and innovation is the main currency. Policies that restrict the flow of bright, motivated international students could have profound and lasting negative impacts on the U.S. economy and its position as a global leader in science and technology. The stakes are incredibly high, reaching far beyond Harvard Yard. Section 8. Whispers from the dorms, student fears and frustrations. Let's zoom back in from the big picture and try to imagine what it's like on the ground, for the students themselves. Whether they're international students directly impacted or domestic students watching this unfold, the atmosphere on Harvard's campus right now must be filled with a potent mix of anxiety, confusion, and probably a good deal of anger. Dorm room conversations, cafeteria chats, and student forums are likely buzzing with questions and concerns. This is not your typical end-of-semester stress. For the nearly 6,800 international students at Harvard, the fear is deeply personal and incredibly immediate. Questions like, where will I go if I have to transfer? And what happens to my ongoing research project or my degree progress, are no doubt swirling in their minds. Then there are the even more fundamental worries. Will I have to pack up my entire life and leave the country I've come to know? What about my friends, my academic mentors, the community I've built here? The uncertainty is a heavy weight. The frustration must be palpable. These students jumped through countless hoops to get into Harvard. They likely aced exams, wrote compelling essays, secured recommendations, and navigated complex visa applications. They earned their place. And now, due to a decision completely outside of their control, their hard-won opportunity is threatened. It feels profoundly unfair, like the rules of the game were changed after they were already playing, and playing well. It's a tough lesson in how global politics can impact individual lives so directly. And it's not just the international students who are affected. Domestic U.S. students also lose out when their international peers are forced away. A significant part of a world-class education is exposure to different perspectives, cultures, and ideas. International students bring that richness to classroom discussions, group projects, and campus life. Removing that diversity diminishes the educational experience for everyone. It makes the learning environment less global, less representative of the world these students will graduate into. It's a loss for the entire university community. Section 9. Finding a way through, the search for solutions and hope. So, where do we go from here? This situation is clearly a mess, with huge stakes for students, for Harvard, and for America's reputation. Is the decision to block Harvard from enrolling new international students and to potentially displace current ones absolutely final, or is there still a path to a different outcome? Harvard's legal challenge, including the motion for a temporary restraining order, is one avenue being pursued. The courts could potentially intervene and put a pause on, or even overturn, the administration's directive. Beyond the legal wrangling, could there be a political or diplomatic solution? Is there room for dialogue between the administration and Harvard or broader academic bodies to find a resolution? Sometimes, even in highly charged political environments, cooler heads can prevail, especially when the negative consequences of a decision become glaringly obvious. Perhaps a reevaluation, a clarification, or a compromise could be reached that addresses the administration's stated concerns without jeopardizing the futures of thousands of students. One can hope, right? The broader academic community also has a role to play. Other universities, scholarly associations, alumni networks, and advocates for international education can lend their voices. They can offer support to affected students, share best practices for navigating such crises, and collectively make the case for the importance of keeping America's doors open to global talent. A united front from the academic world could exert significant pressure and highlight the widespread opposition to such a drastic measure. There's strength in numbers and in shared values. Ultimately, this is about more than just policies and procedures. It's about people, young individuals with dreams and potential. It's about the value of education, the importance of open inquiry, and the benefits of the free exchange of ideas across borders. Let's hope that a way forward can be found. one that protects the students caught in this difficult situation and upholds the principles that have long made American higher education a beacon for the world. It's a challenging moment, but even in the darkest of times, the pursuit of knowledge and a little bit of hope can light the way.